War Eagle, War Rapport family. I'm your host, C Dub. Tonight, we cover some of the bigger storylines through 5 practices in fall camp. Also, tonight, we preview the defensive line, defensive end, and the rush edge positions. Tonight on the Midweek Report. War Eagle, everyone. War Eagle, happy Wednesday. Welcome to the latest midweek report brought to you by show sponsor auburnsports.com. Guys, head on over there for your latest regarding all news Auburn athletics as well as recruiting. Shout out to JG Tate and the gang for showing us love and being a supporter of our show. Also, we want to thank you guys for supporting us, hanging out with us as we draw nearer to the football season. Guys, if you want to be able to support us for free, there's a way you can do that. If you're on social media, share this video, guys. Help people to find our content, help them to get in on the discussion. Use that hashtag, get your weight up down below. We greatly appreciate it. Also, smash that like button, guys. And if you're new to our channel, please feel free to hit that subscribe button, notification bell, so that you are alerted when we go live. Now, if you want to support us monetarily, I can tell you why you need to do that and what you should expect if you do that.
Yeah, absolutely. If this is your first time hearing this, you're about to experience something so cold. The War Report is here to give y'all all of the wonderful things you need to get your Auburn fan experience to the highest possible level. Now, if you want to have a dull fan experience, then I don't know what to tell you. Don't join as a member of the War Report. But if you want to come over here where your producer ain't going to be dancing in all your videos, I don't know why I'm giving y'all just random hip hop references tonight, but I am telling you, you need to be a part of the membership crew of the War Report because just $5.99 gets you access to all of the things that we have, including some great exclusive content drops, including the Watch the Film stuff that we're going to be doing. I got some more Watch the Film stuff that I'm getting ready for y'all. So that's going to be coming out here in probably about a week or so. So make sure you get that ready. Outside of that, man, you know we've been doing all of these great interviews, and we sat down with the young Coy Moore. That's dropping live for everybody tomorrow. So tomorrow, everybody gets to see the much anticipated interview with Coy Moore. A lot of people have been asking about this. It's going to be coming out for you all tomorrow. But tonight, as always, we're giving away something sponsored by War Eagle Oil. The Weagle War Damn Eagle. Kick them in the butt, Big Blue. Hey. T-shirt giveaway is going on tonight. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments to be able to be a part of this drawing. You have to be present to win. I keep saying that, and people keep disappearing on us in the middle. They drop the get your weight ups, and then they bounce, and then your name comes up here, and everybody is sad. Well, actually, everybody who didn't win isn't sad. They're very happy that you aren't there so we can run it back. But you need to be present to win in order to get yourself a T-shirt tonight, but we'll be doing that right around the 1 hour mark, so stick in with us so we can get that popping for you.
Indeed. Let's go ahead and get into it, guys. We're 5 practices through fall camp. It's been some news coming forth about that. Our very own B. Will was able to join the, I guess, part of the media session for the 25 minutes, B?
For 25, 30 minutes, yeah.
25, 30 minutes, you was able to observe some of the practice. Was this your first time observing Auburn's practice, just as obviously as media, but have you been able to sit in on a practice before?
I never have. I never go to the open fan sessions that they've had in the past. This was my first time seeing those guys that close up. And all these dudes are freaks. The worst player on the team, whoever that might be, is worse, or the least used. He's a freak. They're all freaks, man. You see him in pads, you see him on the field, and they're kind of scaled, right? The same way like Steph Curry looks small on the basketball court, but if you ever seen Steph Curry, he's like 6'3". It's like, man, you're tall. All these dudes look like freaks. All of them. It's unreal. I don't know why humans that big can move that fast. It's not natural. It's not natural. It's weird.
Indeed, indeed. What did you observe during your window of time, man, watching this football team?
Well, they were in doing position group drills during practice, and so the defense was on one side of the practice field, offense was on the other side. I stayed down there with the offense because I'm a little less concerned about the defense based on what we know going into camp. And the reports for that day were, as I saw reported, other places were accurate. But I gotta say, man, it's way too much to let a 25-minute window influence what you think about the quarterback race, or what you think about what the two deep is going to be, or what we think about who's definitely going to break out. It's 25 minutes, man. It's 25 minutes. Now, it was great for me to be like, why is this dude so big? You know what? Corbin Moore is like, he's like running back big. Like, why is this guy why you're a wide receiver? These guys are huge, man. Like, I know it was strength and conditioning on another level since Harsin has gotten there. And I don't know, because I've never been that close up. I don't know what our players look like 3 years ago. I don't know. Now, they all look jacked. They all look like unreal athletes. So that was again, it's like, wow, y'all are big. Aside from that, I was watching the wide receivers pretty closely, and Camden Brown really is as advertised. Like, he looks the way. When I was working on campus, I actually got to pass by 2013. Well, why is Sammy Coates a few times? Yeah. He like it really reminds me of Sammy Coates. He looks like a grown man catching the ball, like very strong hands catch, like he's snatching the ball. They call it attacking the ball as a wide receiver. That's how he looked picking the passes out of the air. He just looked very intentional. Catching the ball, really impressive, man. Omari Kelly, who we hadn't heard a lot about, but he had a good day the day I was out there. Xavion, who we don't hear his name too much. We've heard improvement, but I was like, based on the 25-minute window I'm seeing, I wouldn't be surprised to see him get reps.
Harsin gave him praise yesterday. He gave Xavion quite a bit of praise.
Yeah, and he did. And so I'm never surprised to hear a name here and there in camp, because as a good example, what they've been doing, and I know different media members have been reporting it, they put up on the televisions in the athletic in the facility, here are the players, offense, defense, playmaker of the day, but it's of the day prior. So if you go in there today, it was who stood out yesterday in camp. If you went in there yesterday, it was who stood out Sunday in camp, because Monday they had it off. And I can tell you that somebody who looked great or who was on that screen for his Sunday practice didn't look great in his Tuesday practice. And it was reported. And that's why I'm like, you know what? It really doesn't tell me much to see a 25-minute window and to make evaluations about what a guy is or isn't going to be. They're working through it, man. They are working through, because again, they've been able to do strength training. They've been able to work with each other, but contact with coaches coaching you through practice, that hasn't happened before last week, because there are these very strict rules that happened when the NCAA changed just a few years back, where your coaches can't just get a hold of you and say, hey, y'all, come on, let's go to the facility right now. We're going to do this. That's on the players, and it has been on the players, and they've been doing it. They've taken it upon themselves to run those routes, but they haven't been running those routes with their position coaches telling them what to do and how to improve. So all that's happening for the first time. You heard the players talk about it in the media session that I was able to be present there for. Like, that heat is serious. It's a factor. So their first time being out in that heat was, I think, either Friday or Saturday. And they said that they came in Tuesday a lot more prepared. They felt like it wore on them the first couple of days, but Tuesday, Harsin talked about it. He didn't see any lazing, any quit. He felt like the effort was there. Even though there were some drop passes by the receivers, some errant throws by the quarterbacks, the effort was there. And I don't expect them to look so polished, especially not this early in camp. Now, when it's a week, the game week, and they're prepping for Mercer, I wouldn't expect to see as many drops and errant passes and things like that as I saw. At least I hope I don't, because by that time, a few scrimmages, they actually have a 1 deep worked out. They got a 2 deep worked out. So, those groups would be a little more a little more coherent. But from what I saw, it's good to see our guys working. Did I see a world beater? No. But if I did see a world beater in practice, I wouldn't take it seriously yet. It's way too early, man. It's way too early. They're feeling their way through practice. They're feeling their way through the expectations that the coaches have laid out for them. And it's good to see that the efforts are up, the spirits are up, and that they have their foot on the gas. I definitely feel like between Harsin talking and the players talking, they know what's at stake. I mean, they hear all the complaints. They know where they were picked in the West. There's no more of a chip on the shoulder. And Harsin actually talked about that in his media session. There's no more chip to have. Now we just got to go out and blow some stuff up.
Stuart Donald, appreciate you, man. He says, I'm sitting in a kayak on the Mobile Delta fishing. Enjoy yourself, sir.
Man.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
And listening to us. Appreciate that.
For sure. Austin says, any sites on J.J. Evans doing work? Did you see J.J. Evans out there, B?
I did, because he was the second biggest wide receiver. So he's hard to miss behind Camden Brown. He's out there. I can't say that he, flashed more than any of the other guys. The ones that stood out the most to me were Xavion and Camden Brown. But he's out there. He's participating, man. I couldn't tell you. I'll say this. Based on what I saw, I don't know how you separate any more than one or two players at the most. I don't see. I couldn't look and say that guy's definitely not playing. I can't see it. I don't see that. I didn't see that at practice, and I haven't seen that in practice reports since. So, but he's out there. He's working.
I know your answer may be for this question. It's kind of a loaded question because you already alluded to the fact that it's early. But Raven Patel, appreciate you hanging out with us. Says, how about our boy Camden Brown? Could his freshman year be a better surprise than Seth Williams' freshman year? I think a lot has to happen with this offense as this coaching staff figures out who they can depend on in the starting lineup, as well as the two deep, as well as what this offense is going to do, as well as what the QBs are going to do before we know what Camden Brown is. But from all accounts, he's impressed so far. Obviously, being able to work out with the upperclassmen on day 2, I believe. So he's been very impressive. B, you just alluded to the fact that he's been very impressive. I do want to point out a conversation, and I think Big Homie here. Appreciate it, Big Homie. I don't see your comment, guys. I don't know if you've seen it, but appreciate that anyways. But I happened to check out Zach Blackerby, friend of the show. And boy, it's been a epic meltdown over there over what's perceived to be. Many people are reporting that TJ Finley's been getting a lot of work with the ones. And some people have gone as far as to say that in the time that they've watched, he appears to be the most consistent quarterback so far. Need I remind you, this is through 5 practices and the small windows in each practice that you've seen. We have yet to watch a full practice, and there's a scrimmage coming up this Saturday. Do you guys have any and Ike, you've done a good job of trying to caution people as to the fact that, hey, this is going to be a competition. We'll see how this plays out. But what any extra thoughts on this, Ike?
No, I mean, listen, it's the first scrimmage is going to tell you a lot there, and that's going to be happening this weekend. But I just want people to, and I've been saying this since people have been asking this question in spring. If we were to play a game if we were to play a game this weekend, who do you think is going to be the starter? The answer to that question has not changed from me for like 6 or 7 months. And there's been nothing that's developed thus far that changes the answer to that question. It's still TJ Finley right now. Not because, and again, I said this last time this was asked me. It's not because I feel like TJ Finley is the best quarterback in that room. I think that there are, and this is no disrespect to TJ, I think there are quarterbacks that have higher ceilings than TJ. I just think that relative ceiling to floor, he has been most consistent in his space, and he has the most experience in this system. So, and I just don't see a reason to push a panic button for Mercer. Like, why do we need to have somebody else start for Mercer other than TJ? Now, if someone clearly separates themselves in these scrimmages, that answer can change. But as of today, that's the answer. And people can be upset about it. People can proclaim that we're only going to win X amount of, if TJ's a starter, guaranteed this amount. I just don't know how you say that without having seen what progress TJ has or has not made. You're just making the assumption he makes no progress at all, or he can't possibly make enough progress for us to win more than 4 games. I just don't know if that's true. So, but again, the answer to that today on August 10th is irrelevant. The game's not getting played this weekend. So there's a lot that can change between now and then. We've talked to players, specifically quarterback, who have been in the position where they were not the number one, but by the time the first game happened, they were. So much has to happen in this camp before we suit up and they even announce who's going to be the starter for week 1. Even if they release a depth chart before then, that could change before week 1.
Yeah.
So I just want people to understand that if the coach makes that decision, that was the best option he had at the time. And he, in no one's opinion, is tied to that decision after they make the first snap. He could go out there in Mercer and stink it up in the first game. And he's like, you know what? I've seen enough. You had your shot. Let's get somebody else in there. And the season isn't over. How about that? You don't lose the entire season on the first snap of offense against Mercer. So regardless of who trots out there first, the season isn't done. If he plays well, he keeps playing. If he doesn't, somebody else steps in. And I'm as confident as I've ever been that if we decide to go to number two can go out there and do the thing.
Mike G, thoughts, man?
I'm not saying that media viewing sessions are pointless, but you're seeing what they want you to see. They don't pick those. They don't pick those time slots on accident, right? Like that's very purposeful. They are very careful about the things that they do while the media is out there, right? They give you just enough to go back and write about. If you've never seen a practice before, it's your chance to see how guys have developed physically. But you're not learning a whole lot from a media viewing session the first week of fall camp. You're just not. So in terms of the reps, I think a lot of people don't get is all 3 quarterbacks that potentially could start at some point this year, we're going to take reps with the ones in fall camp. Always, right? The vets go out there first. It's like that. I mean, Tuberville used to split. He had like rookie practices. They're still doing a version of that where, when Ben Obomanu and all those guys came in, they had their own like first 2 days was just freshmen with like maybe some sophomores out there. Right. And Robbie went out there, but you have to have some quarterbacks out there with them that are competent so that they can actually do things during those practices. But it just didn't mean a whole lot. You have your veterans go out with the first team first. That's it. Chris Todd told us he took reps with the 3s all fall camp, and then they called him in and told him he won the starting job.
Yeah.
All these coaches do this differently. There's no point in getting bent out of shape about anything that we see. I don't have a ton to say about this other than I'm with Ike. Like, you're not going to lose the season on the first snap of Mercer. So what I do feel confident about is that if it is not going well, my hope is, I'm not going to say I feel confident. My hope is that hopefully dissimilar from the last staff, the sky doesn't have to fall before you'll make a change. Right. You can learn about these players in a win. You can go out there, win a game, and still be ineffective. And then look at the tape and say, hey, we need to make some changes here so that we can be more effective offensively. This is about determining where guys fit in the pecking order of that change that may potentially come during the season. I think that Robbie has just as good a shot as any based on his ability. Now, he's got some experience things that may, the other guys do have on him, certainly. But ultimately, I don't think anybody, include the coaches, care who's the most experienced. They care who's going to go out there and play the best.
Right.
It's always about who's going to give you the best chance to win. So you've got to prove to the coaches that you're that guy. As quarterback, man, you can only send one out there at a time. So I like where we're at quarterback. I think there are things to like about all three quarterbacks. The only people in a tizzy right now seem to be the people who just absolutely don't want TJ Finley to start.
Correct.
Right.
Those are the only people in the tizzy right now. And if he wins it, he wins it.
And
No,
that's my whole thing. If he actually wins it, and you thought Zach Calzada was a good quarterback or Robbie Ashford was a good quarterback, but TJ wins it fairly and they don't just hand it to him, then where's the problem?
Or check this out. Or it doesn't mean if he's either going to prove why that was a good or bad decision.
Right.
People
and they have time to pivot off of it.
Right. The other statement that I just kind of want to shoot down is just because he wins it doesn't mean that the guys behind him are less than.
Correct.
Right.
Either. That doesn't mean
that Harsin is incompetent.
Right. Yeah. I'm just like, I mean, I think that's why I question, because a lot of people thought I was caping for TJ last year. And I'm just like, well, I'm looking at the quarterback we got out there. And I'm just thinking, is it really possible that we don't have anybody better?
Yeah.
Is it really possible? Can we just give it a shot so we can know for sure? Right? Rather than just dying on this hill.
And you know what? I want to say, Mike, you were hesitant to say, I'm confident that if TJ, whoever the first guy is, doesn't do it, then the next guy definitely will, or that the coach will pull him. I am confident that the coach will pull whoever is underperforming, because we've talked about it all offseason. Somebody didn't want this man to keep his job. Now, he hunkered down and he put his foot down and he had the team stand with him. But this year is still critical. He doesn't have any reason to play favorites. He has to win games. He has to prove it for his job, for the confidence in him to continue to build among the fan base and the donors. He has to win it so that the recruits he's trying to bring in say, so that's what you want this offense to look like. There is no reason for Brian Harsin to play favorites at the detriment of the team's performance. None. I have no doubt that he will pull a guy who is underperforming. The only real complicated thing about this is whoever you choose definitely has an advantage. Whoever you choose to start the season has an advantage, because you have to lose. You have to underperform in some way in order for the next guy to get a shot. If you can be high floor, low ceiling in your position and don't shoot us in the foot, you can keep your job.
I don't necessarily know if that's 100% true. Like, yeah, I think you've got to. To your theory behind that is that it's got to be disastrous to move on, and I don't think it has to be a disaster.
I don't think it has to be disastrous.
Well, I'm saying you said high floor, low ceiling. It depends on where you're measuring your floor, right? Like if your floor is just, well, he didn't turn the ball over, and he took like game manager floor, then I think that that's acceptable. But if it's
right,
we know what the capabilities of this offense are, and we're not humming at that. It's like your car, right? It's still driving, but you know it ain't driving right. Like I know how this car is supposed to perform, and it's not doing that. Do I go in and get maintenance now, or do I just keep driving it because it's still drivable? And my question is, does it have to break down on us before we go and get maintenance? And that's what Mike is saying. Is like, I know it's not driving to high performance. Let me put a new driver in here. Maybe it's the guy driving it right now.
Right. When the oil light comes on, change the damn oil. If you wait, we all know what happens.
And the beauty
when you
of
drive a car after the oil light comes on.
And the beauty of it is you have the month of September to deal with all that stuff in your car.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I would understand the panic if this was, 2019 and Oregon was game one, or if it was Washington game one. It's Mercer.
Yeah.
So this doesn't have to get sorted out right. It definitely doesn't have to get sorted out practice 5 of fall camp.
Well, you got two guys in your quarterback room that you have real game tape on.
Right.
And I'm just saying, I don't think that until we see it in game, you're not making too many judgments from what you see in practice to say something is for sure fire or a problem until we've seen it in game, right? We've seen what Zach Calzada can do in a game, right? There were a couple games, TJ's freshman year where he was looking like the next coming. It didn't come together for him the way I think, but they had a lot of dysfunction at LSU. So this is, I think, his shot to show that was the exception and not the rule. And then you've got Robbie coming in. I don't think it could be just that you have great competition and it's close and you're trying to make the best decision about which guy to go with. Like when you have actual competition going, the guy that you pick, he may not be the best guy, but it doesn't mean he didn't earn it. Right. It's just hard. It's hard to evaluate until you put a guy in front of those 90,000 people under the lights.
And then too, it's hard to determine, is your defense playing really well or is your offense / quarterback playing poorly?
Correct.
Right? And that's
right.
If this defense is as good as everyone thinks it is, and I don't have any reason to believe that it's not, it's going to be hard to play well against that defense.
Well, let me say this. That's the only thing that makes me a little bit nervous about TJ, right? Because no quarterback gets hit in camp. No quarterback gets hit ever in practice.
Yeah.
You're the quarterback. You never get hit in practice.
Sure.
And I'll tell you, I saw, and this isn't, again, me caping for Calzada. I'm just saying what was on tape. I saw Calzada stand in and deliver dimes under the most pressure in the SEC
if you don't believe
last
what
year.
Mike's saying, there's a watch the film session I did.
We have watched the film. We have watched the film of him standing in there and sacrificing his knees and shoulders to deliver a good football under pressure. Yeah. Their line was the worst in the SEC in pass protection. Right? Bama was right in front of them. We saw what it was like for those QBs. So I'm just saying, like, again, and it doesn't mean that TJ hasn't improved at all, but I think his challenge will be getting the ball out, going through his reads, getting the ball out quickly and making good reads faster, because Zach Calzada, I think he's a little underrated in terms of athleticism.
Again, if you don't believe what he's saying, watch the film.
Yeah, he can move. He can definitely move. Robbie is a problem when he gets going, so we know he can move, right? Robbie, I mean, I don't know, dude. Like, chasing Robbie is like chasing your hopes and dreams, man. Like, just when you think
I catch him. What are you talking about?
Just when you think you're getting close, right? It gets further away.
No, I don't receive that. I want to catch my hopes and dreams.
What are we doing here? I know, right? Mike's projecting. So, let me grab these real quick, Mike. Cedric Harrod, appreciate you, man.
Thank you, sir.
With this, Austin Berryhill says, Mike G, your background is doing the wave behind you.
My dog is under here wagging her tail on it. This is what's happening.
Mike in the Matrix, that brick ain't real. Mm-hmm. That brick ain't
I know, right? Real quick, guys, before we get to the break, what needs to happen outside of people not getting injured in the upcoming scrimmage? What are some things that we would like to see occur in the scrimmage that let us walk away with saying, hey, this coaching staff, this team is taking a step toward preparing itself for week one?
Yeah, I think consistency is just it, right? Demonstrate an understanding of offensive concepts, go out there and execute the plays the way the coaches are envisioning it, right? That's another thing that people don't want to hear, but it gives TJ an edge. He's been in the system. I've heard it from staff. I've heard it from other players. He understands exactly what they want him to do, right? That matters. That's a huge thing for Harsin, right? It's having a guy out there that understands exactly what I want you to do when you go out there.
Right.
So that can't be understated. The other guys are trying to demonstrate that same thing, that they also understand and can go out there and execute. But this offense is going to look different based on who's in there because they don't all have the same skill sets. So what they've done is they've developed multiple offensive contingencies based on what these quarterbacks are good at, right? So the time that they spend with the players during the season, during the summer, it's not nothing. They get 2 hours a week on the field with the players, and they can go through things and they can coach them, but it doesn't matter, man. Everything they do in the athletic department is on tape. Right. They're coaching them. Trust me, everything they do in that indoor facility or on the field is being filmed, so that somebody can sit down with tape and evaluate what's going on. And I'm sure whatever they're doing is within the rules, but ultimately, it's they have a good idea of where everybody's at. I just think fans should just get ready, prepare yourself for whatever. I wouldn't listen, man. I mean, I think it's a long shot, but if for some reason in 2 weeks they were like Robbie Ashford is going to be our starting quarterback, I would not be completely shocked.
Yeah, at this point, I'm not. I wouldn't be shocked.
I would be completely shocked. Yeah. I mean, based on what Chris Todd told us, and you know, we talk about him a lot, but I really like Chris. I thought his insights from Texas A&M to Auburn were really telling about
Texas Tech.
Oh, Texas Tech. I'm sorry. He won a quarterback race and he lost one.
Mm-hmm.
And he told us both sides of that coin, man. And when he didn't even think that he won, he went out there and all he could do was go out there and control the things that he could control. It didn't matter that they put him with the third team.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. All he could do is go out there and throw to the guys who they told him to go. He didn't get down on himself. He did the best. And Chiswick called him in and said, "You're going to be a starting quarterback at Auburn University." Chris was funny. He said, Ike, they called me in third. And I figured if I won the job, they called me in first or last. But who calls the starter in third? Like, I just figured they're about to tell me my dreams are never going to come true. And he won it. And he beat those other guys out in the room. So he made up time. He missed all of the spring.
Yeah.
And somehow find a way to demonstrate to the coaches. And I think that's the challenge if you're Robbie Ashford or even Zach Calzada, right? If you're Robbie, it's because you're coming in from another school. For Zach, it's that, and you missed a lot of the spring,
right,
because of your injury. You come in and you're trying to demonstrate in a short amount of time that you give Auburn the best chance to win. You demonstrate the best understanding of the system, right? And you can be the leader, because being quarterback is more than just about your ability.
Yep.
Right? It is about making the guys around you better. When the chips get down, what the hell is your quarterback doing? Is he pounding on the sideline? Or is he pulling guys up by the damn bootstrap and saying, "Let's go, fellas. Forget it. Forget that fumble. Forget that sack. Next play, let's get in there and let's get it done." Those are the other things that coaches are evaluating during those practices. And they don't mean nothing. They mean something.
Right.
So it's not all just ability. Sometimes the less talented guy is the better leader.
Tim Tebow. Listen, people can say what they want to. Tim Tebow was not a great quarterback. He was an amazing
leader. Right.
And he had a
great fullback, running back.
That's what I'm saying. He had a lot of great athletes around him. He was an athletic guy, but not a great quarterback. But he knew how to go out there and get the job done.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
And that's all you really need to be able to. Listen, Georgia fans, I know you guys sneak over here and watch us. Your starting quarterback
didn't win
not
the
a world
job.
beater.
He didn't win the job, though. He didn't win the job in fall camp.
I'm just saying, though, he's not a world-beating quarterback.
Sure.
He's good.
Sure.
Nobody's saying he's trash. I'm just saying nobody's sitting here saying to themselves, "Man, if I had my pick of 10 quarterbacks,
I'm going to get Stetson Bennett." Right.
That's the guy I'm going to choose."
Right. Yeah.
But he knows what his job is. He doesn't try to do too much. Hand the ball off. Hit your deep shots when they're open. Get the hell out of the pocket when it breaks down.
Stetson Bennett makes
it's just simple.
Stetson Bennett makes the team better in not so obvious ways.
Right.
I asked Kirby Smart at SEC Media Days when I got my chance to ask him a question. I asked him about Stetson. Are you having a real quarterback battle this offseason? Because the last dude just won you a title. So I'm just interested in how you're managing that process and what about the guys behind him. He gave me coach speak about the guys behind him, but ultimately, right, Stetson is the guy.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, that's not all about his athletic ability, man. That's about leadership.
Because everybody would agree that there are 2 or 3 other guys in the QB room at Georgia right now that are better quarterbacks from like physical standpoint, arm strength, whatever, stature than Stetson Bennett. But who knows the playbook best? Who can go out there and execute best when it's time to do it, and has proven they can do that a little bit better than everybody else in the league. Right. Stetson Bennett's the only answer to that question. I know we got to go to break, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. So.
Good talk, guys. And we want to hear from you in the comments, especially if you're watching on replay. Let us know your thoughts through 5 practices, your thoughts on what the media is saying, who looks good at QB. How are you feeling? Definitely let us know. Also, you can share this video, guys. Use the hashtag, help people find our content. Smash that like button. Don't be out there just lurking and watching us and not liking this video. Like the video. Also, subscribe if you're new to the channel. We take time now to pause to acknowledge the sponsors of the War Rapport.
This edition of the War Rapport is made possible by our generous sponsors. AuburnSports.com. For news and notes on all things Auburn Sports, head over to AuburnSports.com. Athletic Architects. For young athletes looking to secure their financial future, let Athletic Architects help you to build your financial house. Head over to BuildTheHouse.com. And our giveaway sponsor, War Eagle Oil. War Eagle Oil is your #1 place for all of your motor oil and related products. For more information, visit WarEagleOil.com.
Yeah. Y'all know that it is definitely coming close to the season. And when we get into the season, the perks for our members start to get ratcheted up. And that includes member-only chats. We're talking about watch the film content that's going to be exclusive to our patron level members. And you're able to get in on stuff like giveaways for tickets. We are giving away tickets to some lucky member to the Mercer game. So if you want to be able to get in on that drawing, you have to be a member of the War Report. 2 tickets, courtesy of the War Report. We're going to do this for every game. So you guys make sure that you get locked in with that. And we will make sure to get those tickets over to you as soon as we can before the game. And you'll have time to get in there and have the best seats in the house because, you know, they're courtesy of us. Our guy Coy Moore sat down with us and had a conversation. You can peep that conversation tomorrow, but here's just a sneak preview of some of the things we talked about with wide receiver Coy Moore.
Was it just about like what drove you to make this decision to transfer and jump into the portal? Was it just too many guys at the same position, or what was it?
It wasn't about that. In my opinion, I ain't trying to be cocky, and I was the best receiver in that room.
Okay, now that's that. Listen, because Kayshawn is nice.
Oh no, I know, and I'm better than him for sure.
My guy.
Okay. Oh,
my guy. I love the confidence, man.
He's a great player. I'm not taking away what he did, 300-yard game and things like that. He's a hell of a player. I'm not taking that away from him. But you know, like people deep down inside know who was real, like who was the real receiver one. If I had the same opportunity as some of those guys, you know what I mean? So
okay.
You know, it just wasn't my opportunity there, especially having a different OC, a different person that recruited me that was there, you know what I mean? He played his guys, so that's what it was. And it just, you know, I started like the last 4 games my freshman year and couldn't see the field the next season, so.
Conversation with wide receiver Coy Moore is going to be live for everybody. Members, that's been live for you all. And that's been something people have been loving, that content right there. We're pretty much done with the the building rapport sessions. But we might sneak a couple more in here before the season starts. But like that was going to be like our last one. But, you know, when something's popular and people want to do it, we might sneak a couple more in there. And I ain't gonna give it away until it's official. But we'll let y'all know more about that coming up here soon. We are doing a giveaway, as always, sponsored by War Eagle Oil. If you have any motor-related products that you need, that's motor oil or any of the things like that, go to WarEagleOil.com. But for you right now, if you want to be able to get in on this giveaway, hashtag get your weight up in the comments. We'll be doing that drawing here coming up in about 20 minutes. So you have to be present to win. Make sure that you are locked in with what we got going on so that you can be here during the giveaway, or otherwise you're going to be sad when you rewatch this later and you realize, man, I was supposed to win and I wasn't there. But you know what? If your sorrows need a place to be calm, maybe you have anxiety right now because you don't know whether or not you're going to win. Make sure that you check in with our guys over here at the Rogue Shop, and they got you covered.
This episode of the War Rapport is brought to you in part by Rogue Shop. Looking to reduce stress or improve your quality of sleep? Rogue Shop has you covered with a wide range of premium products, including gummies, bath salts, and oils. Go to rogueshop.com and use code RAPPORT when you check out. That way, they know we sent you. All right?
Yes, indeed. Shout out to Rogue Shop. Appreciate y'all for being a sponsor of the War Rapport. Don't forget, guys, code rapport, guys, so they know you came over from us, and get your discount, guys. Definitely. And get your gummies. It's going to be, we in for a fun season. Let's go ahead and get into our before we get into our preview, let's get to a super chat from Exclusive TV. Appreciate you rocking with us. He says, I want whoever that's going to get the job. That's the attitude. That's the attitude I want to see.
Literally, I'm rooting for
that's
the
the
person who's gonna
attitude.
get the job done for sure.
Whoever it is. And Mike G says, he said it a lot last year. Whoever the guy becomes, that's who we should get behind, because he succeeds, Auburn succeeds.
Well, I like how everybody just ignored that about my stance on Bo last year, right? But I was never against him. I'm just saying, hey, listen, after they pick a guy, we're a fan channel. I'm not unbiased. I want Auburn to win, period.
Right.
I don't care who's at quarterback when it happens either. I don't care how it looks.
I don't want Auburn to succeed in spite of our quarterback. I want him to be a part of the success of it, so I don't have to sit here angry, even in a victory, about the future of where our program is going. I want Auburn to succeed, man.
Right. So again, if you look at it, you're looking at a thing where I've heard repeatedly on social media, if so-and-so starts, I'm not watching.
Right.
Wow. I can't tell you how many times I've read that. So-and-so starts, I'm not watching, or we're doomed. You know what? Don't watch. As a matter of fact, quit all the way. Mail us your Auburn gear. We'll donate it to charity. Right? You know, turn in your fan card. If that's all it takes for you to quit, then, you know, listen, Auburn has ruined many a weekend for me.
Fact. CVs.
Right? You know what I mean? I still watch. So, you know, and Caesar can attest to that because he was the one I was calling to complain about it.
Yeah.
Pre-game, halftime, and post-game.
Listen, that's how this channel started. It was us in some combination complaining to one another or rejoicing with one another about what we saw on Saturdays. Like, that's just all it was. It was like, yo, what you think gonna happen? Halftime. Man, what in the world was this? Post game. Man, we won, but I gotta go. Dang, bro.
No. Quit running the same play.
My ears
know what you're running.
My ears.
Oh my God. So frustrating. Well, we still watch. This is why we're here with you. So
absolutely. Let's get into the 2022 preview. We skipped over QB because we're going to save that toward as we get closer to the season, as we know more as a result of these scrimmages. Let's pick up with defensive line, guys. And let's take a quick look at the defensive line as it stands coming out of last season into this season. Returning is, and then granted, we're splitting this room up. Let me before I start reading off names. We're splitting this up into two different graphics, guys. So if you don't see a name, be on the lookout for the next graphic. We're only dealing with the defensive line, your defensive
interior
end,
defensive lineman.
Yes,
essentially here.
So your defensive end and edge rushers will be on the second graphic. So don't panic. This is interior defensive line. So returning is Zacavius Walker, Marquise Robinson, Marquise Burks, Garrison Walker, Jackson Kelly. Coming in is a lot of new faces to this room. Jeffrey Mba, Jeremiah Wright, who actually was already on the team, but moved back to this room from the offensive line room. Aniche Sledge, Morris Joseph Jr., the transfer from Memphis, Joe Frazier Jr., and Jason Jones, the transfer from Oregon. Guys who are no longer with the team are Tony Fair, who exhausted his eligibility, Ian Matthews, and Nick Curtis. So when you're looking at this room, and I'm seeing guys like Jason Jones, and I've heard some positive things about Morris Joseph, actually, coming out of the media. But you see guys like Jeremiah Wright. Of course, we had Marquise Burks on. What's your expectation for this particular group? And it looks like Jason Jones, who's just a mammoth up front, who looks like he's going to be the guy that you're definitely using in as a run stopper, or at least to plug up the middle. What is your expectation for this defensive line? I'll start with you, B. Will.
My expectation is that between well, I'm honestly, I was thinking Caleb not Caleb Wooden, but Colby Wooden was going to play inside. But I realized he's going to be in depending on our alignment here. But I wonder if they're going to be 3-4 or 4-3, and maybe they do both. And that really ultimately decides who gets on the field first and who gets the most snaps, because there are guys who could play inside just as easily as outside. I saw remarks that Morris Joseph Jr. was as big as he was. They had him playing in some and doing some rushing, even though he's a really, really big dude. So some of this is completely dependent on what do the coaches see, what is going to be our base, and how are they going to attack each team that we play. I expect Burks to get a lot of snaps. I expect, it's hard to say, Jason Jones, you can't put a guy that big there if you're going to be 4 wide on the front. I mean, you could. I mean, why could you? But I know who's going to be on the line no matter what with their hand in the dirt. I know Colby Wooden's going to be one of those guys. Again, that's just by default. So, as we've talked about before, you got a few spots left. Who else is going to be in those spots? I don't think we see Jeffrey Emba anytime soon. Maybe he gets some reps second half of the first couple of games, or if the Missouri game goes like I think it can go, and maybe we see some of these guys in second half of that game as well, because I don't think they can hang with us physically. But it's really, really hard to assume anything, especially I haven't seen these guys. We probably know the least about the incoming guys here, or the guys who were just added, than we do any other position group. And even the guys who returned on this list, because these aren't the guys who got the bulk of the work last year. So it's really hard for me to project. If I had to guess, I'd say I think Burks is going to get some burn. I think Zykevious Walker gets some burn. I think Jeremiah Wright is if he's like that, as the kids say, and Ball reports he is, then he gets some burn. Jason Jones probably gets some burn. And I don't think Morris Joseph Jr., they seem impressed with the fact that he's football ready. He's played enough football. He understands scheme. He understands how to be a professional and come out there and perform in practice. He's going to get on the field. And EJ Sledge probably red shirts. Maybe he gets a couple of snaps here and there, just for funsies. But nah, he's not going to play this year. There's way too much experience in front of him. That's what it comes down to. There's just too much experience for any true freshman to get work with this group. But I expect those guys I just named. I expect the defensive line to be stout, unbelievably stout, unrealistically stout. The only position group on defense I have questions about is linebacker. I have none about how well our defensive line will perform this year.
Corey Weber says Lee Hunter is also gone. We actually missed that. Yeah.
Who's that? I'm not familiar with the name.
Got it. So Ike, question here is, and I think this comes from Ron Robinson. What is the potential too deep? I mean, guys, you can all chime in on this. B, you kind of already talked about it from your vantage point, but what is the potential too deep on the interior defensive line, in your opinion? Who do you like?
So I think that you're definitely going to see Jason Jones in that too deep. You're definitely going to see Marquise Burks in that too deep. Marquise Burks, if you didn't know, he sat down with us again, plugging some of our previous stuff on building rapport. He was having a decent season until he got hurt last year. Yeah. And he is a senior leader on that defensive line. So I think that he's got a distinct possibility to get in there on that too deep. The other guys that you're going to look at are going to be, or for me that I'm looking at are going to be Zykevious Walker and then Jeremiah Wright. Listen, from the camp previous, everybody was talking about how crazy Jeremiah Wright was going on the defensive line. I think he is still just as formidable up there, and he's going to get some looks up there in the front. So I'd say that's probably it depends on what the front is going to be, right? Like if we're going to be a 3-man front or a 4-man front. But I would look at those 4 names that I just mentioned as a likely contributors pretty routinely, whether it's a 3 or 4-man front, just depending upon which technique they're playing.
Mike G, your thoughts on this group. And I mean, we got some serious depth. And so a comment from Philip Coleman says, I feel that we will be a multiple front based on who we play and the game plan the coaches come up with.
Certainly
some teams a 4-3 will work better than a 3-4, mix it up to keep teams guessing. Thoughts on that, Mike?
It feels like we're not talking about Zykevious Walker enough returning. Marquise Burks, obviously, predict these. Jeffrey Mba is, again, man, I'm looking at Jeremiah Wright, Eniche Sledge, Jason Jones. This could be a really, really good group. Morris Joseph Jr. I think this might be one of the stronger groups in the SEC. So watch out for the defensive line. This should be a strength of the defense. If we can be stout in the middle, and give the guys off the edge a chance to be great, they're going to be a real problem for people. So Jason Jones, I think, is a little underrated. He's a big, strong guy that's going to be in there, hopefully clogging up the middle with Jeffrey Mba. And, Aniche Sledge coming over. I like this group. I really like this group. I think there's a lot of talent here. And again, they're in, some of these guys, the guys who are returning are, again, in year 2 of this strength and conditioning makeover. Hopefully the guys who are coming in did not have anything they had to unlearn in that regard. So this has a chance to be a really special group. I like them. I'm confident about this group. I have nothing but good expectations for the production that they're going to have on defense this year.
How do you feel about this team going into like the second half of games, given the amount of guys we have who could potentially play in the interior? And obviously you want to get a deep rotation to where, you're in the fourth quarter and those guys are still playing at a high level because you're just rotating bodies in. What are your thoughts on that is from the coaching staff?
I don't think you can ever have enough guys if you're losing time of possession badly.
That's true.
Yeah.
So personally, I feel better that we'll have some guys that could maybe save it if it's going that direction. But, ultimately, under normal offensive circumstances, I feel really, really good about this group. Under last year's, situational circumstances, I wouldn't feel good about any group.
Yeah.
I think they're good defenses have at least competent offenses aiding them on the other side of the ball so that you're not burning out, man. Football is such a taxing sport. I mean, it's a long 60 minutes on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it really is. And the shape that you have to be in to make it through a grueling 60 minutes is, once a week. There's a reason they only play one game a week.
Right.
It's hard on your body. It is very, very difficult on your body. So all the work they're doing this offseason is in preparation and anticipation of those 60 minutes every Saturday. But, under normal circumstances, to answer your question, I feel good about them. But there are no circumstances under which I feel good about them if we're losing time of possession badly. So, it's not just them, it's everybody on defense, but especially your D-line, because those guys are down there, man, just banging every play.
Yeah.
You got to move somebody every play, and it wears on you. We got to give them time to sit on the sideline and yuck it up with each other and play rock, paper, scissors, and just, check out for a little bit before they get back into the game and have to bang heads again with the guys on the other side of the line. From, I just hope we're not asking this group to save our season at the end.
Yeah, I mean, if they stay healthy, they can be dominant enough to win us football games, but it's really going to come down to the health, right? If you're healthy and you can just send waves of guys in there, you have a better chance. Like, we just ran out of gas in some games.
Right.
Mississippi State ran out of gas.
Georgia
ran out of gas. Alabama ran out of gas, right? And so you've got to not only have talented guys, but guys who you can trust to be in there in crucial situations so that you're not exhausting those guys up front. And we got thin up front in the defensive line. We had bodies, but they were inexperienced or not ready to play, especially the type. And again, I'll go back to this. We talked about this with the offensive line. The type of defense that you want to play, you have to have your body ready for that. The type of schemes that they want you to be able to do. Like if you're used to being a 1-tech and you've got to go do 2-tech stuff or 3-tech stuff because they're asking you to do different things, your body's got to be prepared to take on blocks differently or to shed blocks differently. Like, it's just a different proposition, and it's not an easy transition for every defensive lineman. Interior defensive line doesn't, just because you're a big body person doesn't mean that you can play every position on the defensive front equally as well. There are just some certain players, like Colby Wooden's just blessed. He can do a bunch of things on the defensive line, which is why, he's listed as an edge player, but you'll see him on the interior a lot.
Right.
He's just one of those guys. So and you just don't see that. I mean, it's not as common as people would like to make it seem. As it's like a guy who has been a guard his entire life on the offensive line having to shift out and play tackle. Those are two completely different skill sets. It's not just being a big guy on the line.
Yeah.
Right.
So you just have to be able to, like, I think when the defensive coaching staff got in here last year, they realized they had bodies, but not necessarily bodies that they could just send and do all the things they wanted to do. And they were still trying to figure out what people's strengths were. They've got a better bead on these returning players. And I think that we'll see the benefits of that coming into this next season.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Wooden. Let's get to the second graphic, which lists the rest of the guys along the defensive line. Here's our defensive end and edge room. Returning is, of course, Colby Wooden, Hayden Bryce, Derek Hall, Dylan Brooks, Marcus Harris, Eku Leota, Tabeki Okoli. Added coming in is Marcus Bragg, He Gone, Daniel Foster Allen, Romello Height, and T.D. Moultrie. Pro Football Focus speaks quite highly of Colby Wooden. He's the returning highest graded player from last year. Of course, they mentioned that he beefed up to make more of an interior rusher. He put on almost nearly 50 pounds since his freshman year and 15 pounds added since 2020, and the transition has paid dividends. He has improved his pass rushing grade from 69 to 80.6 as an interior defensive lineman in 2021. He already has some advanced traits at his disposal with his hand usage, leverage, and strength. If he continues to get bigger while gaining more experience inside, he should only improve from his 2021 campaign that ended in him being the 7th highest graded interior player in the SEC. Are we looking at our potentially our highest NFL draft pick in Colby Wooden? Like, how special of a season do we expect this guy to have? And how special is he going to be this year, in your opinion?
He's that guy, man. Colby Wooden is probably my favorite player on this defense. I think Derek Hall is probably going to, because of the attention Colby Wooden's going to get, Derek Hall may have the better season statistically, and he in and of himself is saying he wants to be that guy that's just going to go out there and be a menace on it for every quarterback. But I think that Colby Wooden is probably the most talented player on that defensive front, because he can move around so much and he can do so many things, and he allows you to be more multiple because you can move him wherever you want to, inside, outside, and he's going to be hard to block and able to occupy blocks if he's not the guy who's getting one-on-ones as often as possible.
Yeah, indeed. And exclusive TV, yes, Joko Willis is at age. We just don't have him listed here, but yes,
they still have him listed as a linebacker on the site. That's the only reason I didn't put him on there, but he technically has been working with the edge group. Yes. So
yeah. Mike G, talk to me about Derek Hall. And this is also, he's listed as a key starter along with Eku Leota. But talk about Derek Hall. You had a chance to talk to him recently at SEC Media Days, correct?
Yeah. Well, I interviewed him. So we have that interview up on our channel if you want to go back and look at that. I spoke with Derek. He's going to set the sack record this season. Derek Hall is going to set the sack record this season. So whoever holds it, you're not going to hold it for long, because Derek Hall is going to hold it by December. This is a guy who has made strides physically, which is saying a lot, because he was already a monster. And somehow he figured out how to get from regular monster to Loch Ness monster in one offseason. It's insane, right? So coupled with Colby Wooden and Eku on the outside, Marcus Harris, the young gun, Dylan Brooks. Watch out for this kid, ton of talent. We scooped him in the Tennessee McDonald's bag sweepstakes. This is a group that has a chance to do something pretty special this year. And if those guys, the other guys that we're talking about, are clogging up the middle, I expect Eku Leota. What did he have, like 5 sacks last season? Yeah, 5 or 6 sacks last season.
I'm not
7,
sure.
I think.
Oh yeah, I
No,
mean
9. He had 9.
He had 9
Leota
sacks.
didn't. No, not Eku.
No,
Yeah, Derek Hall. I
Derek
think
had 9. Yeah.
Derek had 10 according to Pro Football Focus.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Eku had how many?
9.
He had
Nice.
9 sacks.
That's what they're showing. Now I can look at on Auburn site to see, but I can confirm that.
No, okay. All right. Hey, listen, even better. I mean, that's almost 20 sacks between those two guys right there.
I mean, you had Colby Wooden's on top of that.
Yeah, if you can build on that number, you're talking about a really special defense. Now, when your edge guys are teeing off on the quarterback, you know what position is easier to play? Defensive back.
Yeah.
Defensive back, it's a lot easier when those guys are pummeling the quarterback. I expect Derek Hall to be doing a lot of that. My signature Derek Hall moment from last year was against Arkansas.
The strip sack in the end zone.
Oh, man. KJ Jefferson. Good night, son. Derek Hall got back there, strip sacked. It was a touchdown. I think we recovered that for a touchdown. Just completely sucked the life out of that game in Fayetteville for Arkansas, and Auburn won big going away. You don't do that without the pressure that these guys were putting on KJ. They're going to need some more of that this year because I think KJ Jefferson is going to be an improved quarterback this year. He's going to have that game circled. Fortunately, we have a few guys on our team that have that Arkansas game circled as well. It's going to be interesting to see, but I expect a lot from this group this year. I really do. I think for Auburn to have a good season, these guys are going to have a good season.
The Auburn website shows 7 sacks for Eku.
7, yeah, I thought, yeah.
And 9 for Hall. So, yeah.
Okay, so if those guys build on those, I mean, if those guys, let's say, turn in anywhere between 20 to 25 sacks this season, I mean, we're going to have a really special year combined. And, if Derek Hall sets the sack record, single season sack record, I mean, we're going to have one of the best defenses in the SEC.
I think Nick Fairley, I saw where it was 11.5. I guess you can round it up to 12 as a sack record. So you're talking about 4 more sacks than what he had last year for Derek Hall.
Yeah, here's the thing.
He said himself
3 to 4 more sacks.
He said himself that he was upset at himself because he probably could have said it last year had he not missed a few that he was right there to get. So he's confident that he's going to be able to close the deal this year.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, these guys can get off this year, then we're going to, they're going to wreck some dreams. Certainly. They are really going to destroy some people. I think the fans should be excited about this group. Colby Wooden, to me, is not getting talked about enough in this. And the thing about being the man is that you don't sneak up on anybody when you're the man. So Derek Hall is that guy you game plan for now. I'm going to be interested to see if early in the season, because we start with Mercer and San Jose State, if he goes nuts sacking the quarterback during those games, if by the time we get to Penn State, he's not drawing more attention on defense, allowing other guys to win their matchups and get after it. That's why I think Leota, same thing. He could have a really special season depending on what Derek Hall does. Similar to what happened with Derek Brown. I mean, God, by his senior season, he was just drawing so many double teams. They were making whole defensive game plans for Derek Brown. So I think that Derek Hall is going to be that same kind of guy that you have to game plan for.
And with
so the crazy
still couldn't get no sacks.
Who's that?
Could
you imagine a 3rd and long scenario where you have Eku on one side, Derek Hall on the other side, and in the middle you have Marcus Harris and Colby Wooden?
Yeah, I can definitely imagine
forward to that.
Yeah,
that's insane.
What I'm looking forward to,
I can't wait for that.
Is our goal line package being Jason Jones, Jeremiah Wright, Colby Wooden, and Marcus Harris on the outside.
Yeah,
I want to see that. I bet our goal line defense is phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, the game's on the line, right? And you have to make a play. I'm looking at this group and I'm just thinking, God, I see playmakers here. Playmakers here. So this could be this could be something really special.
For sure. It was mentioned earlier, Ike, about the different types of alignments that you can do defensively. Are you looking forward to seeing? Harsin has talked about or it's been said that Harsin runs a multiple offense, but it looks like with the personnel we got, we're going to be pretty multiple on defense as well, given certain situations. And what can we
were
expect
multiple
to see?
last year defensively.
Yeah.
I think the defensive front is going to be, they're going to throw a lot of different things out there at you. I think, again, the difference this year is the staff has more guys that they're confident in about where they need to be in alignment. And you saw that as the season went on that, listen, for the early portion of the season, just off of talent alone and not really even understanding what they were doing, half of the game, they're looking to the sideline, trying to figure out what the call is. And we still were one of the leaders in tackles for loss last season through the vast majority of the first half of the year. And then as the season went along, you started seeing more sacks happening because, again, it's understanding of what my responsibility is on the defense, coaches understanding where these guys' strengths are, and then your natural talent just starts to take over. And I expect, multiple defensive fronts we're going to throw out there. I expect that we're going to be mixing up the back end coverages as well. Like how many linebackers we're going to have out there versus how many defensive backs. There's just so much opportunity for us to do that. And I said this last year before the season started, that we had a way to be able to, if you want to play ball any kind of way, we've got some sort of matchup for you. And I think that that's still the case again this year, but I'm even more confident if, again, we remain healthy. We've just got a wave of bodies we can just send out there and continue to have quality and not feel like, oh, such and such isn't in the game right now. What are we going to do? It's like, no, such and such is in the game. Dang, that's still a problem.
Yeah.
You don't get to take plays off against this defense.
Yeah. Realistically, this is one of the best D lines in the SEC, which is why you're not going to make a bowl game predictions shock me. Mm-hmm. This defense arguably got better since last year with the additions of Jason Jones and some of these other guys. We're not talking about defensive backs, but the other kid from Oregon and DJ James. The guys that we've added on defense. I'm shocked that people completely overlooked everything that this defense did last year in stretches. The amount of scoreless quarters that they turned in, where they just didn't let anybody score. But again, we were losing time of possession. So it looked great in some games and it didn't look so great in other games. But I expect to see them attack a lot more this year. I asked that question of Harsin at Media Days. He said, it's not that we didn't attack, but, we're going to show multiple fronts and we're going to do some things, dynamic things on defense. And I expect to see you. You just don't have Derek Hall and Eku Leota out there and not get after the quarterback.
Right.
I think that's a mistake, right? You turn Derek Hall loose and you let him draw double teams or whatever so that those other guys can be great.
Sure.
It's crazy. Like Derek Hall could have a really, really not so good season on paper, but we're going to know he's great because one of these other guys is going to go nuts while everybody is trying to stop him. If I'm Derek Hall, the worst mistake you can make is leave me one-on-one with anybody. He's going to be anybody. He's going to win any one-on-one matchup you put in front of him. But we have other guys who can do that too in that group that we just showed.
So it's like, who do you double team? Do you double team Colby? Do you double team Hall?
That's exactly where the problem exists. That you've got to have stellar offensive line play where guys can take on one-on-one matchups and win consistently. Like you're going to win a rep every now and then, but can you win through the course of an entire game when we're just sending Derek Hall, Eku Leota, Colby Wooden, Marcus Harris, Jeremiah Wright, Cavius Walker, and I can just keep rattling off names. Marcus Bragg, we haven't even talked about him. That dude's a freaking unit out there. Jeffrey Mba, as he starts to get better with his technique, he's just raw athleticism coming downhill against you on the defensive line. We talked about the kid from Memphis, Morris Joseph Jr. Like they just talk about his effort and his leverage that he brings along the interior defense. Like there's just a bunch of guys. And so, who do you double team? I don't even know the answer to that.
Right.
Maybe you double team Jason Jones, but that's kind of what we want you to do is let the big guy go out there and occupy people so that our linebackers can run free. Yeah. And if we're going to be aggressive defensively, we've got speed at linebacker. we haven't even talked about the linebacker group, but I mean, they say the kid from North Carolina that we got, Eugene Asante,
Yeah.
they say he can run.
Yeah.
Like they said that he can run like Papo can run.
Right.
Wesley Steiner, they fast.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if they can be assignment sound and maybe not over pursue, because when you have good pass rushers, they'll let you get after it, and then they'll sneak in some stupid screens, and something to try to
draw stuff like that. Just let you rush up field,
right? Yeah. If we can play smart football and they can be assignment sound, they can really do some damage this year. We saw it not even in small spurts last year. We saw it in long stretches last year. Right, it failed at key times because this team was trying to, get all the guts out of them. But at the end of the day, it was in there, and we can't look at the bad and not acknowledge the good.
Yeah,
I don't think you can just disregard all the things that they accomplished on defense last year. If they had not played to the level they played last year, it could have been a much worse season. Right, you could tack probably. I mean, think about it. The defense had not played after at Ole Miss. We didn't score. We scored 3 points after halftime. 3 points after halftime. That's realistically, if your defense is not playing up to par, that could have been an epic breakdown.
Yeah, it could have been Mississippi State
all over again.
Yeah, I mean, we would have gotten demoralized against Bama in the Iron Bowl.
Right,
completely run off the field. Instead, they gave us hope just to snatch it from the jaws of victory. But I think that if they can improve, if they're just even a little better than last year, and the scheme is a little better, and everything moves up, they can have a really, really special season. Combine that with marginal improvements on the other side of the ball, and the whole Auburn isn't going to make a bowl game narrative is going to look real stupid by week 6.
Oh man, I can't wait to do a special on that.
Yeah, by week 6, I mean, I was doing it with Ike today. I was like, bookmark. I'm bookmarking this tweet. I'm bookmarking that tweet. I'm coming back. I'm giving everybody the smoke. And in about 8 weeks, I'm giving everybody a lot of smoke.
And you set the bar so low that you get this smoke pretty easily.
At 5 games,
you're probably getting it by early in October. You're probably getting that smoke.
After they win 5 games, I'm not going to stop talking until Western Kentucky. Because we're going to beat them, and then we're going to make a bowl game. And if you said we weren't going to make a bowl game, then you have no clue what you're talking about. So if we start 6-0, I'm telling you, I'm going to be the worst person on Twitter.
Second worst.
I'm going to be an a-hole to a lot of people.
If we beat Georgia at Georgia for the first time in what, 20-something years? When's the last time we beat Georgia at Georgia?
Brandon Cox was our quarterback in 2005.
Yeah, it wasn't longer than the LSU drought, but yeah. Right. So yeah, they're going to win a game that nobody expects us to win, same as they did last year.
Yeah,
come on, man. This is Arkansas's best team in how long? Right. We ran them off the field. This was Ole Miss's best team in how long? Since Hugh Freeze, we ran them off the field too. So the idea that we're going to get worse with this D-line, with Eku Leota and Derek Hall, and one of these young guys, I'm telling you, is going to surprise somebody this year. I would not be surprised to see, Dylan Brooks get in garbage time and show everybody why he's the next coming.
Yeah.
Right? So watch out for these guys.
Good conversation, guys. I mean, we can keep going on and on about the D-line because there's so much to talk about. I'm interested to see if this defensive line plays up to its potential, what Auburn is able to do on the back end with its linebackers and DBs and coverage, because you don't have to worry about blitzing because all the pressure is coming from up front. But more on that in future live shows. Guys, it's time to give away something. What exactly we're giving away? There it is. The Wiggle Wiggle War Damn Eagle Kick 'em in the butt Big Blue Hey, brought to you, sponsored by War Eagle Oil. Drop the hashtag in the comments, and you don't have long because Ike is ready to draw.
Yep, and it's 108 people.
Ooh,
so we're not even going to prolong this whole situation. We're getting straight to it. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments if you haven't already, because the person might not be here, but that person is Robin Patel.
Robin.
So if you are here, make sure that you say what's up to us so that we can get you in the know of how to get your t-shirt. If you've been here before, you know the answer to that, but it doesn't matter. We're going to tell you again every single time, just in case you didn't know. So yeah, make sure that you have your spelling right if you want to still get in on that, and because we will be redrawing if Robin doesn't show up here.
And John Brandon says, can y'all do a sack of the game segment? See, I had this idea a little earlier, John.
Yeah,
We've already discussed potentially doing that. So, but listen, in case you want to, get your sack pack taken care of, you need to go holler at our boys over at Chill Boys.
Chill Boys.
Treat your boys. Chill Boys underwear is designed for maximum comfort with enough space to keep you cool, calm, and comfortable. Chill Boys underwear will help you keep the boys close, not too close. When the game is on the line, you won't break a sweat with Chill Boys underwear. Whether it's left boy, right boy, or both boys, Chill Boys provides your boys comfort like you never felt. Maximize your chill with Chill Boys.
Maximize your chill with Chill Boys. Robin, we see you right there in the comments. Business at the War Rapport. You are 100% correct to send that email. I'm going to need your address. If this is your correct name, that name, and then what size shirt that you want. Sponsored by our guys at War Eagle Oil for all your motor oil and motor related products. Make sure you go over to War Eagle Oil. That's wareagleoil.com. Courtesy of them, that lovely shirt is coming to you very soon.
Indeed. It's time for your questions, comments. Please be sure to drop them, guys, and we will read as many as we can as time permits. Let's get into what we got so far, guys. Zach says Holden is who I'm impressed with so far for someone so young. Thoughts on this gentleman?
I mean, he's got a really great arm. One of the things that you saw from A-Day is that he wasn't going to go out there and try to do too much. And I think, I've talked about this before. There's a mold of what kind of guys this coaching staff wants to be able to see. You're seeing that in how they're recruiting, and you're seeing kind of a pattern. It's like, okay, we want quick, decisive, big arm guys. And he fits the mold of that. When you look at Adrian Posse, he fits the mold of that. You're seeing them look at guys and say, this matches my offense and what I want to do. And I think Holden fits right in with the mold of what they want to be able to do at the quarterback position. I'm looking forward to seeing how he progresses as he starts to understand. Like, again, he can have all the talent in the world. Does he understand the concepts, and can he make it happen when the game starts? We won't know that until he gets in there and they're doing more scrimmages. But I do like the potential of what Holden Garner supplies.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Listen, the coaches think that this kid is the future, and we want to see a pipeline at quarterback. What I don't want to see is us or fans or coaches or anybody expecting Holden Garner to be the savior of Auburn football. I think we want to see this kid come into a stable system with a stable coach that is proving that they can maximize his talents and put him in the best position to be the best QB he can be. So hopefully we see more of that down the line. But I really like Holden Garner. I think that he's going to be a really special guy for us down the road.
Kevon Lavender says Cash App associated with you guys.
War damn transfer. War damn transfer. Yeah.
$sign War damn transfer. If you just want to send us some money, hey, listen, we take it that way as well.
It is what it is.
Indeed. Thank you for that. Timothy Wilson says, did we get an upgrade at wide receiver coach this year? I'm thinking maybe.
I'm thinking
yeah.
I'm thinking absolutely. I just don't. I mean, listen, and the guy who eventually became the wide receiver coach is still on the team, right? He's the offensive coordinator now. But I think we've won some recruiting battles because of our current wide receiver coach. And by the account of all the people who we've talked to or who are in that wide receiver room, he's making them better receivers and just understanding the nuance of the game, showing them things that can help them improve and be better wide receivers. So I think the answer to that is absolutely yes.
I have to agree there.
Yeah.
Jason Hill says, we don't know QB is a problem until we play, regardless of who the QB is.
Yeah, again, it's so hard to evaluate in camp because you are playing against your own guys. So you don't know I mean, you can look at assignments and technique, but let's say your assignment's down and you just get beat. Does that mean that you're not as good, or does that mean the guy going against you is that much better? If you're just consistently getting beat, then you raise a red flag. If you're just consistently throwing listen, there are guys who are. I saw a story about why names always do this, and he's like the Green Bay quarterback. What's the man's name?
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. Thank you. I saw a story about Aaron Rodgers where he threw like some ungodly number of interceptions in back-to-back weeks of training camp. And basically he was bored. So he was going out there trying stuff. He was like, let me see if I can make this throw. Now, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, like, if you're reporting, and there are guys right now in the NFL who they're having bad training camps, but then when they go out there in the game, they're doing something completely different. And I'm not saying that that's what you should look at here. I'm saying that you just don't know. Sometimes your defense is just that good, or sometimes your offense is just that good. And then when you get against other competition, you start to see that. But you do want to consistently see battles happening. And that's what you should be looking at. Are these guys battling back and forth? When this team, the offense punches, the defense punch back. Because that's what's going to continue to get you better, because you're going against guys that are really good and you're competing with them.
Right. Agreed.
Indeed. Cedric Harris says, Warner Mingo family, but quick question. Is the scrimmage this weekend open to the public? I truly don't know, but if so, then what time, my guys? I don't think it is, but Mike G, would you know?
Yeah, so about that. I don't know. We'll get back to you. We'll put something on Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll put something on Twitter.
AW Miller time. I'm gonna go with that. Do y'all think Ontario McCaleb could catch a squirrel? If he's running a speed sweep and Gus Malzahn's offense, he has a good chance.
Wow.
I mean, if the squirrels is going to run in a straight line, then yeah, he has probably an opportunity to do that. But the squirrels,
most times squirrels don't.
Yeah. Right.
Well, thanks for the question, though. Brandon McAuthor asks, how do I make my name green?
You put some green on the join button is how you do that. You've got to be a member of the War Rapport. So there should be a join button on right below the video, actually. But if you're definitely on the channel, then you can see the join button there. And that should be available from whatever device you're on right now. But just as a word of caution, if you haven't heard before, if you're on an Apple device, iPhone, you're going to get charged a little bit more for that, because Apple's takes a little extra something off the top there. Do. So if you join from an Android device or from a computer, then no problem. You can join whenever you'd like to for the same price that you saw advertised on there. But the green names are people who have joined and become members of the War Rapport.
Indeed. Jeremy Redding saw one report that Sean Jackson was running with the twos. Any chance he's really pushing Jarquez Hunter down to number 3 on the depth chart?
Unlikely. They're mixing it up. Like, again,
right.
Robbie was running with the ones today. And for some reason, people seeing Robbie run with the ones made them think, oh, he's making this push. That's not what that means. It's not what it's not that isn't possible. It's just not what that particular move today meant. This was the plan. I just wondered if people do they maybe Jeremy, you're here with us pretty often. We talked about this when camp started, that the plan was for them to mix up who's going to be running with whom on different days going into the scrimmage. So I think they're just trying out different combinations of things and seeing how different groups of people work together, and allowing people to have opportunity. So you're not always in there as a running back. The only time we ever see you is when you're running with the third string offensive line. So we don't know, would he have broken that for more yardage if he had been behind the better offensive line? Would that quarterback have had, if he had more time to make that throw, because he's not going behind, or he's throwing to receivers that are blah, 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 or you're a receiver and you're always getting throws from guys who aren't, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just need to get guys an opportunity to flourish early, so that when you get into scrimmages, you've had a chance to evaluate them semi-evenly. So you have to mix and match it in order to be able to do that.
Indeed. He really says, what do you think of the way the coaches are handling fall camp so far?
I like it for the reasons that I just said, is that you're giving everyone an opportunity to get a look right now. I mean, shoot, even Sawyer Pate was out there throwing with the vets, right? So everybody is at least getting a chance to be seen with a group of competent people around them. So you're getting a chance, like no one should be able to say, I never got a shot. Right now, once you get past the scrimmage, I don't know what it's going to look like. But for right now, the first week of fall camp, everyone should be able to say to themselves, I got an opportunity to go out there with competent people around me and see and have the coaches see what I could do.
Yeah. I mean, all you hope for during fall camp is a shot to show why they should move you higher than where you are. So if you're at the top, you want to stay at the top. If you're second string, you're trying to make a case for first string. If you're not on the radar, you're trying to get on the radar in fall camp. For some guys, unfortunately, that's going to be fewer chances than other guys. So it's just really important that you take advantage of the opportunities that you get in fall camp to show that you could be the guy. So,
not poo-poo on the I was with the third string today as it not being a real opportunity. There's opportunities there as well.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you just don't. It's not what people think it is. I see a lot of people freaking out about these reports coming out of fall camp, and it's early, and a lot can happen between now and the start. So I just think there's no reason to freak out until about LSU. Honestly.
I mean, so Penn State's the first game where I think you're going to be able to evaluate what this coaching staff has valued over the first couple of weeks. But everything after Penn State, even including Missouri, is going to tell you a lot about where we are on a barometer scale of like, are we tipping into the place where it's like, hey, you might want to check your oil levels? Or is it like, no, we're actually pretty good right now, and we'll see, because you don't know if Missouri's all that good, and we'll see what they are the first couple of weeks of the season. But yeah, Penn State is going to give you an opportunity that's your first check, and it's like, okay, all right, we're good, or gosh, that was rough. It might be time to make a change. But to Mike's point, by the time we get to LSU, we need to have this figured out. You can take an L to Penn State, and the world's not over. Not saying the world is over if you get to LSU and you lose, but we should have it figured out by that point, because after that, this schedule gets real rough.
It does.
Right.
It does.
Right.
It's gonna be difficult. I just think Penn State is not a must win in my book, because it's not an SEC game. So if you had to learn about like your team during one game, I'd rather it be that, because your schedule sets up so you can recover, right? If you win the other ones, I mean, there are harder games than Penn State on our schedule. So, if that's where you have to take your lump, so be it. But, that's I'd like to win it, certainly, because I don't think they're as good as they were last year. Yeah, I think you could make a hard case that they got better. But like, yeah, I just don't think there's any reason to maybe freak out. If we lose to Missouri, then yes, man, alarm bells are going to be going off everywhere.
For sure.
Right.
For sure.
That's this year's South Carolina. That's a team that you're clearly more talented than, that you have to beat. And I think that if we lose to Missouri, that's going to point to a lot of things. I think the only way we lose to Missouri is if we get outcoached completely and the team is completely unprepared at home.
Right.
Fourth game of the season. I don't see it, but that's the one thing that will cause me to hit the panic button.
Risk No Reward says, what do y'all think Auburn looks like if DBs are the best unit on the defense this year? I believe it could happen.
They're all world.
Yeah, I was about to say this is Georgia. Mm-hmm. This is a back-to-back season where you're seeing a defense that is ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. The DBs are locked down, shutting people out, because I have no doubt that the D line is going to be good.
Right. Because what that does is that means that your linebackers don't have to be great. They could just be okay.
Mm-hmm. They could spy. They can do a lot of things when you have lockdown corners.
Your blitzing becomes ridiculous when you're, because then you can throw all kinds of exotic blitzes out there because you're not worried about your defensive back sound. Man, if our DBs are locked down, bro, I'm sorry.
That's scary.
You talk about a hype train You talk about sunshine pumping. I'm gonna be on here every. Let us come out here and pitch a shutout in one of those first Power 5 games, either Penn State or Missouri, because Missouri could score points last year. Let us shut out one of those teams. I might come on here with the sunshine pump of the week, just effusive in praise of that defense.
Yeah. And again, that's an area that I wanted to see us take a step forward is in our secondary. So we replaced a lot. We got a lot of bodies back there too, man. That's the thing with this defensive back room is we got a lot of guys that's trying to get on the field. So if they are the best unit, which is saying a lot given that we just covered the D line and how impressive they were, yeah, it's going to be nice. Our defense is going to be nice. The offense has to improve. If our DBs are like this and we're shutting people out, like the offense has to take a step forward. And you're talking about a really good year.
Conversely, I'm going to come on here really upset if we do pitch a shutout in that game, but we only score like 10 points.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to be like, I'm still going to be mad. I'm going to be like, yeah, the defense played phenomenal, but what the heck was that?
Right. We should be running away from teams if you're pitching a shutout. Exclusive TV asks, can y'all squeeze linebackers and DBs in one video?
Too many defensive backs. I doubt it. And we've got enough videos left between now and the season where we don't really have to double up on the content like that. If we did pair two things together, I would put DBs and safeties on the same video, though, not linebackers and DBs. So likely not, but yeah. Again, I wouldn't do that combo. It would be safeties and linemen and defensive backs if we were going to pair them
up. Coy Moore, is this you? Amani Smoot says, I honestly don't see no L's on the schedule. That's that Coy Moore type of energy I like. What do you guys think?
No, I see some L's on the schedule. I'm sorry. I would love to be wrong about them.
Yeah, listen. I mean, you realistically, you can't look at Georgia and Alabama and call those W's right now.
Not right now.
Not right now. Yeah, I mean, now as those games get closer and we start doing game predictions,
when we see what they're doing before that game and we see where we are before that game, there are some L's on this schedule. I am not ready to predict an undefeated season for Auburn.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, but I mean, there are a lot of people clamoring for us to do schedule predictions now. We've just been like, hey, can we just like wait until some of these position battles get settled before we start picking the schedule? I'm not ready to call anything just yet, but right now, I think out of respect for what those teams have accomplished and what we have not accomplished, you can't call those W's right now. Now, I will say this: I expect us to compete in those games. At this point, we competed last year in both those games. I don't know why we wouldn't compete this year. So, but I don't see. I mean, with those games on the road, yikes.
Yeah,
yikes.
Daniel Mitchell says, any of you guys going to be at the Western Kentucky game? One of us will be there because we will be covering that game for sure. So one of us will be there, Daniel. Second part of that question also saw where Robbie was taking reps with the ones. What are y'all's thoughts? We kind of covered that already.
Yeah,
they're mixing and matching.
I had about the Sean Jackson thing. They're trying out different combinations of things and giving people opportunities. And I think that's a very fair way to be able to do it, even if it's only for show, right? Like it gives an opportunity for media to be able to see guys running with the one, so you don't always see them. So even if you wanted to just give hope for the future, it's a good way to be able to put that out there. So I like
if you have a QB who's practicing with the third string O-line and they're running for their life, if you want to get a good evaluation, put them with the ones to see how they actually look in an actual situation where they have time to throw, they're playing with guys around. To your point, Ike, you can evaluate that person better as opposed to them being on the third team where some of those guys are likely not to see the field unless it's a complete blowout, right? So that's why you're seeing some of the mixing and matching. Prior to scrimmage, I doubt you will see much of the mixing and matching. I think that will slow down after the first scrimmage because the coaching staff has a better idea of where guys are and who they expect to give some time to. If the coaches want to see you after the scrimmage, then you have a legit opportunity to get into the playing rotation is what I would interpret that to mean.
Yeah, as we were talking here, there weird segue. Well, not weird, but I'm hearing noise. There's a kid out of Central Phoenix City. His name is Tamarion Parker, 49th player overall.
He was a Penn State commit up until yesterday.
Yeah, just decommitted. And there's some noise about him possibly landing on the Plains. So when we're talking about these first 5 games of the season, this is where you have to go out and start to give those kids who maybe overlooked you on the first go around a reason to come back and look at you again. Now, imagine if Auburn goes out there and beats the crap out of Penn State, the school that he just decommitted to. Game 3. You don't think that would resonate with that kid? I would be trying to get him for an on-campus just for that game. Come watch us beat the school you thought was better than us. Why not? I would definitely invite him. And we know how much weight that environment can carry, even in a loss. Kids come in and you just feel the crowd and they feel the excitement. Keontae Scott talked about it during the Iron Bowl. You know, it was a game we lost, but he just pictured himself playing in that environment and said, I have to go there. So it's going to be interesting to see how this starts out. These, we're talking about, position groups, but recruiting just can never be forgotten in this conversation about how we start the season. I think we got to win games, man, so they can get some more guys in here.
Out of all the O-line talk, I haven't seen Keandre Jones mentioned once. I know he's proven, but is he injured?
He has been dealing with some injury. But Keandre Jones is as a healthy Keandre Jones is as close to a lock, I think, as I'm willing to say along that offensive line. I just don't see a reason why he would be out there. He was one of our best offensive linemen last year. And if we're expecting everyone to take a step forward, I don't see why he wouldn't be in that group. So, but yeah, he has been dealing with some injuries, but he was out there a little bit today, I heard, but still limited. But yeah, no issues other than some nagging injury stuff for him.
Right.
Trace Rowell says, if we don't go 5-0 or 4-1 in the first 5 games, is that reason to be concerned?
I think that's fair. If we go 3-2 in the first 5 games,
so that's what LSU.
I mean, you're hoping that's Penn State and LSU.
That's Penn State. So if you lose to LSU and Penn State, are you worried?
Well, I mean, so here's the thing. You definitely are worried because you worry about the prospects of how many more games you can pull out for the remainder of the season. But let's just say, inexplicably, those 2 losses are Penn State and Missouri, but we stomp a mud hole in LSU.
Right.
Then you've got good momentum going into your first road game. So you're worried. But again, I think it depends on how you lose those games and which games you lose. If you narrowly get beat in the 2 losses, worried, yes, but I don't know. But I would say yes, worried, because you worry about how many more W's. If you only have 3 wins out of those first 5, and you've got to get 3 more on the back end of that schedule, that means you probably have to beat somebody you're not supposed to beat.
Right.
For sure.
Facts.
For sure.
Facts.
Yeah, that's
3-2 would be rough, man.
3-2, yeah. That's that. Yeah. It'll be hard to have a lot of optimism if you're 3-2 after 5 games.
Yeah, because this is not a really. I mean, unless they just end up being world beaters by the end of the season, which I don't see it. Like a loss to LSU at this point right now would feel really disappointing.
Yeah,
but who knows? Maybe we're singing a different story after we see how they start the season, right? Because that's not a talentless squad. I just feel like they have some ground to make up as well, too, in terms of, where they're at as a team. So I would like to see us not lose that game. Certainly.
I mean, I think worst case we're 4-1. I don't know who the 1 is to. I would say if any, it would be Penn State. But I like our chances against Penn State. I feel better about that game being at home than I do going there last year. So I like that.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks to lose to a first-year coach with LSU and a team that's going through a complete culture change. We shouldn't lose that game, but You just never know. I like the idea of us going 5-0, 4-1 worst case if we just have a bad game. But yeah, 3-2 is definitely cause for concern for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's go ahead and get on out of here, guys. We appreciate y'all. Chess says 3-2 equals gummies for sure.
Yeah,
for
lots
sure.
of them. Hit the Rogue Shop up.
Yeah,
Get your
buddy.
orders in now. Stock up just in case.
Yeah.
Use code Rapport for 10% off your emergency gummies for games 1 through 5 of the season.
Exclusive TV says, I need a C. Here's the thing, shirt made for Ike.
Facts. Oh,
Definitely.
man.
Definitely.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting year. There are lots of things that we have to talk about, between now and September 3rd, but I'm ready for football to start. I'm ready for this to start already.
Indeed. Same here. Ike, tell the people what they need to do.
Yeah, man, it's time for you to go all Hulk smash in the comment section and get yourself a green name. Make sure that you are there and ready for when the season starts. You're going to get all these things like early access to content. You're going to get exclusive content. You're going to get a chance to chat with us in our post-game and halftime stuff. Those things are exclusive to our YouTube membership, folks. So make sure that you go ahead and lock that in, including giveaways to the games. So if you want to go to the games courtesy of the War Report, you have an opportunity to do that if you sign up as a member. And we appreciate everybody who has done that already. We did definitely give away something today. Congrats again to our giveaway winner. But if you didn't get a chance to get yourself something in the giveaway, you could always hit us up on our website and you can be able to get the merch yourselves. That's thewarreport.com. Even though that site is under construction right now, you can still go and shop, hit the catalog when you get in there and purchase something for yourself. Buy something pretty for yourself. We've got interview with wide receiver Coy Moore that is going to be going live tomorrow for everyone. So stay tuned for that coming up. Great conversation with that young man. Make sure you are locked in with all the things that he is saying. He made some very bold statements. And if those things come true, watch out, SEC and even the rest of the country. We are the Auburn Express, powered by the War Rapport on all of your podcast platforms. We are audio and we are amazing. Make sure that you check those things out as you can get the audio version of a lot of this content, including some podcast specific or exclusive content that we're going to be dropping out there for you. So make sure that you lock in with us. And as always, we are partnered with the Lee County Humane Society. Hashtag Save All the Puppies. If you want to be able to give to that, you can go to the About section of our YouTube channel and give the money there. 50 cents on every dollar is going to go to that cause.
Indeed, guys, and we appreciate you hanging out with us. Shout out to auburnsports.com for being a sponsor of today's live. Also, we want to thank you guys for hanging out with us and supporting us. Do us a favor, share this video, use the hashtag, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel. To interact with us on social media, Instagram, Twitter, you can find us at The War Rapport, and we are TW Rapport on TikTok. That's it for now, guys, but we definitely have more content on the way. We'll check in with you on this Sunday for the weekend tailgate to recap what we know about the first scrimmage of fall camp. Definitely will see you then. But until then, guys, have a great rest of your week. And as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.